So really in about 49, 50, 51, back then, the automotive industry said these words: asking drivers to not wreck is not very effective. It feels like the right thing to say, but it doesn't reduce the number of vehicle accidents. Our job has to change. And so what they said is, let's assume everybody driving in a car has a 100% chance that they're going to wreck. Because when you deal with uncertain outcomes, you've got to use certain terms. And so what they said is, let's not manage the absence or presence of the failure. Let's actually manage the car's ability to handle the failure. And the idea became that we can actually make cars safer and safer and safer. Now, what's interesting is if industrial safety were in charge of vehicle safety, I don't think they could make the claim of 0 fatalities. Because if industrial safety were in charge of vehicle safety, here's what it would look like in your company. We'd have a program where before you got to drive, you have to take the mandatory don't wreck the car training. It's offered at the training center every Tuesday. There's 14 slides. They all say the same thing. Good drivers wreck less, right? Right? And then once a year, you'd have to take the don't wreck refresher class, but that's on the web, so that's pretty easy to take. And then we'd tell everybody to drive around until someone wrecks, and then we'd stand down driving operations, and we would bring everybody into a big room, and one of you would stand up in front of them and read the procedure on not wrecking louder and slower. What part of not wrecking did you not hear the last time we did this? In fact, I'm going to suggest our target for safety has to change. I think this is our new definition. Safety is not the absence of accidents. And the reason I say that to you is if you do a high-risk operation and nothing happens, can you tell me whether you were good or you were lucky? Because luck's a really complex strategy to manage, and I'm betting you can't tell me if you're good. Let me take it one step further. I think I can say what it's like to work for you guys. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. You ready? I think your people are as safe as they need to be without being overly safe in order to be productive. What do you think? Who's got a pretty long commute into the office in the morning? How long's your drive? 40 minutes is perfect. Did you drive in this morning? Well, that is your office probably if you're like me. Okay. So how did you know when you were driving to the airport this morning you were safe? Oh, so you didn't wreck? No, but that's a pretty good indicator. You got there safely. So you parked in the airport, you got out, your car was in equally crappy condition, you're in equally crappy condition, everything's perfect, right? But that's not the question I ask. How do you know while you're driving? Because that's really seductive. Those outcome values, they're easy to measure, and we like to measure stuff in this room a lot. But while you're operating the vehicle, how do you know you're safe enough? Can you still wreck with your seatbelt on? So how do you know while you're driving you're safe enough? Help me out. This is a really hard question. Okay, Volvo's really good. It's a good speed limit. So how do you know you're safe enough while you're driving? Is feeling safe the same as being safe? So you know if you're kind of jumping ahead and you're thinking that I can replace the word driving at any point with working. And one of the things I want to challenge you is this notion that somehow workers manage this idea of safety. It's a little bit crazy talk because I'm not sure how to define what safe is. I can tell you when you drive to the airport, you don't manage the drive as one task. You really in real time are managing risk as it happens. Part of the drive to the airport is relatively exciting. Some of it's kind of boring. Some of it's high risk. Some of it's complex. You're constantly adjusting. We don't want workers that are risk adverse. We want workers that are actually risk competent. What amazes me about this little thing is that your guys are in an uncertain world doing complex work in real time without a lot of indicators whether they're safe or unsafe. They'll know when the job's over. And one of the challenges for you in this room is to stop seeing safety as an outcome and start seeing safety as a capacity. You don't manage accidents. You manage your company's ability to have accidents safely, to have failures without consequence. Because what's most amazing to me is your guys do this all day long, every day, and they're really good at it till they're not. And that's probably what we should talk about.